of like maybe tango reflects like dating or relationships in a way, where like women like to date older men like to date younger women. Hey Rob,
Yeah,
are we old?
I think we are, man. I mean, do you want to tell everyone how old you are?
I don't. I want to keep.
Don't believe this baby face here.
I keep want to pushing the dream, you know.
What you could do the Leo DiCaprio and girls under 25.
I mean, people only did the math, right? It's like I can't be that age. Like I have a master's degree, and I've been teaching. Like, how old could I possibly be,
Well,
given those things?
Doogie Howser was was an MD at 16, so possible, right?
I guess. But it's an interesting question because I think it's just it's a tough one, and I know that people despise getting older, and getting older in tango is something. I'm not sure if it's a bad thing or a negative thing, but it's definitely something that we think about. We're definitely not the younger, we're not the young up and comers anymore.
No.
That's for sure gone. I would say we are kind of like in this middle area. You know? We're not. I wouldn't qualify us as old per se, because when you go to the Malongas and people look at us, they wouldn't qualify us, and that would kind of actually be a little bit offensive if we would say that we're old.
Oh.
You know, it's kind of like me going like, oh yeah, I'm fat. You know, like, oh, I'm super old. You know, to like for my standards, I'm like I could shed some pounds to get more like trim.
Yeah.
But to people who are actually really like overweight, that's like offensive.
Yeah. I get what you're saying, but I guess I joke about my age a lot just because I feel it. Like, I feel it in my bones.
You feel it in your bones?
I feel my bones! Well, because
you're much more mobile than some people would like trade your age and mobility in a heartbeat.
I hear you, but so now I don't use that as much now. I just say I just tell people like, dude, I'm the cripple.
Dude, that's even more offensive.
Well, hey, dude, I got a busted leg. So I mean, it's not like it's not busted.
Well, like getting older in tango, or just getting older in general, I don't know. It's like I feel like we try to fit in with the younger crowd, and I guess some people will lump us in with the younger crowd, especially in tango. But I feel like as we get older in this dance, there's more things that kind of jump out at you as you get older. And now that I see it's interesting. We did that poll, and for a little bit, one of the biggest things people would want to change is more younger dancers, which was an interesting result. I know it's changed since we've last saw it, but
I know a lot of people say that because I keep on hearing things like, oh, young energy, you just need a whole bunch of young dancers to transform the scene and things like that.
Even older people will say that too. It's like, so many older people there. Like, but you are, It's like,
I know it's kind of sad because I'll talk to people and they're like, oh, I went to so-and-so Malanga and like everyone there's like 80. I'm like really? I mean,
yeah.
I wouldn't even say that. And I mean, I enjoy dancing with older people, but I get what they mean because like, there are people who just kind of exude a certain amount of energy, and I think it's harder to keep that tempo as you get older.
Well, there are some people in our scene that are up there in age and have a great youthful spirit.
Oh,
there are many of them, actually.
No, there are.
Yeah.
But I guess what you're saying is that sometimes it's weird because let's say if you're 70 and you have that youthful spirit, depending on who you are or how you maintain your boundaries, it does get a little weird sometimes. And then there are people who know how to play it off really well. And they're very youthful, and they hang out with people who are 20 years younger than them. And
I think that's
totally
so
fine.
cool, though. I think that's really cool. Let's say the Malanga is a space where the age kind of. I know it does matter, and some people are like, Derek, it matters, but in a sense that you rarely see a lot of people hanging out in various different ages, right? You'll be like, this person's 70 dancing with this person who's 40. and this person who's 20 is dancing with someone who's 60. Like that's you don't see that in our society at all.
I think you do, but it's only in one space in particular that I can think of.
What?
Religion.
Okay, that's fair.
You know, because I see all the families go out. I'm not a churchgoer. I'm not Christian, but I have gone to church with some friends, and you see this wide variety of people. They're hanging out. They're playing frisbee. They're playing. They're bonding as a community, and I see that. So I think that the Malanga space is the closest thing I'll get to religious worship.
I mean, as the older you get, I guess the more you think about the impending doom, which is our ultimate death. It's kind of morbid to say, but it is true. I will say that I know you mentioned Sasha on previous video, and actually, rest in peace, her, just knowing someone like her and how, we lost her at such a young age, that kind of changed me a lot. Like because when we were hanging, and this was 8, 9, 10 years ago, Sasha, who was in her mid-20s, unfortunately got into a car accident and is no longer with us. But that really changed my outlook on life, thinking that this can all go away at any moment's notice, right?
Yeah.
And I know it's very cliche to say, right, to live each day like as it's your last, and you hear that all the time. But that one really just sank into me, like, wow, this person is gone, like.
Yeah, and also like because we have a lot of friends who are older and they've passed too, so it's it's hard to kind of make, I don't want to say make sense to it, but just to put things into perspective, like the passing of Howard, the passing of there are tons of people who we've known, Nancy, it's.
And even the most famous melangueros that are like,
Flaco Danny.
Yeah, and Chino.
Mm-hmm. Podesta, because he passed away
fairly recently.
Well, yeah, within our
tango lives. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something to think about, which is very morbid, but it is something we don't talk about as much, right? It's kind of like we just kind of ignore it all the time.
Well, do you think it's because we're just coasting in tango? Like, I think a lot of people, they just coast in tango. Like, they're just here because they want something to do to fill up their time. They're not working to be better dancers. They're not.
Well, that kind of leads to the question, like, what is filling up your time?
Yeah.
And on this rock that we're on, which is Earth.
Yeah. I guess for me, it's as it is right now. I have goals. I have aspirations. I have tango aspirations.
Okay.
I aspire to be a better dancer. I aspire to go back and compete again. I aspire to be part of a tango show in stage dancing. I aspire to actually choreograph and compete in stage. So there's a lot of short-term goals and a few long-term goals in there, but it's just something I want to do, and that might take me away. That might take me away from the social scene because I'm training more and studying more. But I guess before that, like when I was an organizer, and I took some time off of competing, I was just floating about, and it's like, oh well, let's just keep the machine running. I do this every day; it's part of routine.
But we are creatures of habit. We are creatures of routine.
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting at, is that sometimes when you get older, you have to kind of, when you feel the age creep up on you, you have to sit there and think about, what do you really want? What do you really aspire to do? Like, I mean, do you care to make a mark or not? Or are you just okay with how things are? And if you were to die tomorrow, would you still be happy?
But doesn't that sound kind of pompous to like make a mark? Like your marks, like there's some great people that pass away, and then in 5 years you're gonna forget what mark they left.
Yeah, but the mark doesn't have to be with the community. The mark could just be with yourself. You know.
But yourself that's gone.
Well, yeah, but at least like you died without regrets, or you know, like for example, you know,
Can you die without regrets? I feel like there's going to be some regrets in your life,
I think
regardless. What maybe small, but still
yeah,
regrets.
but I think as you get older, at least for me, you know, the things that you regret, well, the things that I regret when I was mistakes I made when I was younger, I kind of forgot about them or pushed them aside, just because they were kind of frivolous regrets. There weren't anything big and meaningful. I still have regrets now, but I think the closer the older I get, the more I realize, you know, I'm having anxiety over things that really don't matter too much
Yeah.
in the big scheme of things, and because like I've accepted the idea that a lot of things I do don't matter, that I'm able to make better decisions. I don't want to say better decisions for my life, but better decisions that I could be happy about. You know, so I like my aspirations to compete again, my aspirations to go on stage and everything.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm trying to be like an amazing stage dancer. I'm not trying to win medals or anything. It's just because it's something I want to do.
Right.
And it's my own mark to say, hey, I did it. I'm happy. You know, maybe there's a next goal after that. I don't know. But for now, it's what keeps me happy.
I think the question, though, that comes to mind is, how does one cherish the moment? Like, cherish the things that, because, you know, sometimes, like, later on, like, these certain moments, we're going to be like, oh, man, remember when we did this? Or remember when this was so good? Or remember when people used to hang out? But how do you do that currently, like, while it's happening? You know? Is there a way, or is it just, you just have to enjoy it looking back?
You know, I never really thought about that question, but there's an example I can give that I think might be the answer to that, and that is Last SoCal. You know, I would say competing with a team was probably the happiest moment of my tango career.
Really?
Yeah, just because it's one thing to compete with your partner, and it's one thing to dance well with your partner. It's another thing to learn with your partner. But I'm very much a team-oriented person.
Sure.
I love being part of a team. I mean, yeah, I get that with a partnership, but it feels more like a family. Like that team felt like a family to me, even though there's drama within it.
Yeah, of
It
course.
still felt like a family, and we went out there and gave it our best, and a lot of people appreciated what we did. And yeah, like to me, it actually felt like an accomplishment to me. I mean, I didn't get to win a tournament like you did. So that was, to me, that was the closest thing that I was able to get to winning a tournament in tango.
Yeah.
And even if we didn't win, it was just like we went out there and we went out with a bang, you know.
Right.
And that was, to me, that was. I was happy for weeks on that, you know. Like it was just, I didn't need to look back. That feeling was still there, and that's why I'm still gung ho about the team. I'm still gung ho about stage. It gave me a new lease on life for tango, where I felt like I was real, especially like around COVID, I was burning out like crazy. You know, COVID really made me think, do I really want to go back? You know, because there was a time I almost didn't go back because I found jiu-jitsu. I was doing jiu-jitsu like crazy. I was competing. You know, tango was just kind of on the wayside. It was hard for me to start another mulanga again because everything was really expensive, and you know, I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do. And COVID just put me in a crossroads. You know.
I think that was a lot of people. Everyone kind of figured out like, oh, hey, I don't need to do the things I was doing. It was kind of like a reflection on yourself.
Because like the great reset.
Yeah, we all sat in a corner. Dude, you're in timeout for 2 years. Reflect on what's important in your life. And I think a lot of people left the pandemic realizing, you know what? I don't need to do that.
Yeah. And I went through those contemplations, but it was joining the team that, yeah, again, it reignited my passion for tango. And I would say, like, yeah, I really relished that moment then and there. I think there's only 2 moments that I really relished in tango, like then and there, and it still exudes through a time. And besides that was bringing Romantica Milonguero over and having that huge milonga with Romantica. That was a huge accomplishment for me. And
What about Tango House and like all the other things? Like,
yeah, no, Taylor House is great. I loved that. I love the whole idea. It's just because, but it didn't feel like my accomplishment.
But it was a team-oriented thing, just like you said, right? It's more than 2 people
Yeah,
coming together to create this environment for people.
Yeah, but I think it's just because I was at a weird crossroads with being like I guess because I had a lot of doubts too, because of the whole like, I didn't really feel like I was part of the cool kids or anything like that. I was friends with a lot of people who came over, but sometimes like I felt like I was just barely accepted.
You're the last pick.
Yeah. So like I mean, you made me feel welcome, and there's a lot of people who made me feel welcome, but at the same time, sometimes I didn't always feel welcome, and so that's one thing. Like I do would I want to live Tango House again? Yes, right.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was the last pledge in the frat house, and sometimes it was because of that. It made me feel. Sometimes I felt like I was the whipping boy. Sometimes,
Well, it's to be fair, like you were in a tango house with 2 other people that were kind of up there in the tango scene. So it's like not just any people. So it's,
no. So it's
like being like I don't know, like being really good in poker, and then you sit down at the table, and like the rest of the 7, 8 people at the table are like world class people, and you're like, oh crap, do I even belong here?
Yeah.
Even though I'm the 10th best player in the world in poker,
Yeah.
if you have the other 9 people that are better, like top 9, you're the worst.
Yeah, I hear you. So
it's
that's what I mean. Like, so even though I enjoyed my time there and everything, because of my standing, and I didn't feel like I had the same standing as you or Johnny. That sometimes it was like, sometimes it wasn't like I felt accepted. It was more like I just felt tolerated.
I see.
And the drama that kind of came out from all the stuff we did and everything. It's like, so it made me kind of question things back and forth. But I mean, I enjoyed my time there. Went traded for the world. Would like to revisit those times, but it's very different than my feeling with, let's say, the 3rd anniversary of Tango Mio, where that's something I did with my own 2 hands, and I had a team with me, or being part of the team where it was almost like it was start to finish. I didn't really feel like I was the last person on the team,
Going back to our question of getting older in tango, what would you say to someone like myself, though? Like, as I get older, I've already done like many things that a lot of people don't do in tango. I've organized, I've DJ'd, I've competed in one, I've performed, I've been traveling, I was festival DJ, marathon DJ. Like, at some point, like, what do you do as you keep getting you have all these goals, but I look at myself and I'm like, well, what are my goals? I guess, like I'm running out of my purpose and goals. I mean, I never won first place salon in the U.S. Championship. That's still one of my goals.
You joined the stage team.
Stage team. I've never really done stage, really, so I've never been a part of a stage team.
No, you know what? I think the question is, are you happy? Are you happy with, and where do you want to be? Like, are you happy with where you are? Because you're still growing, you're still doing things, you're still learning. It's not like you're not growing. It's not like when I started organizing that everything else was on pause, and then like I was my skills had a bit of a free fall, right, where I was just organizing, and I was great at organizing, but then like my tango skills had suffered a bit.
Yeah.
I don't see that with you. I see that you're still growing and everything, but
Well, I don't look to be happy. Like I look to like I enjoy the journey, the process, right? I feel like that is the internal happiness that I get.
Okay,
Right? And
but
as long as I'm learning something, as long as I feel like there's much things to learn and much growth to have, I feel like that is what's going to keep me in tango for the long run.
yeah.
And I feel like, yeah, there's 1,000 things I need to learn in tango.
And that's great for you. I mean, like, because you're more of an internal person, I'm more of an external person. You know, yeah, you had your external accomplishments per se, like your ATUSA wins and everything,
Yeah,
and your SoCal wins.
yeah.
But I don't see you as a person who, I don't see you as a person who really needs that to feel accomplished.
No, because I look at people. Well, we're great because there's great dancers in LA, and then I look at people that have won or that are world class performers, and then I look at like, well, would that change me? And I look at them, I'm like, no, it didn't really change them, so why would it change me?
Yeah, but what I guess what I'm getting at is like, I think you and I are two very very different people. In a sense, we're kind of polar opposites. Where you're definitely more introverted, more internal, more of the journey, and I am a person who's very motivated by the external. Like I love rivalries, I love competition, I love.
I love competition too.
Yeah, but what I mean is like it's a driving factor for me. That's why I love team things. It's like, would I be motivated by myself to just train by myself, and just enjoy the journey, as you say?
Yeah,
Not without competition, not without a team, not without a partner that I could push and they push me back. I'm a very different person. So, so I'm very motivated by my personal goals and markers of accomplishment, and that's what keeps me happy. There are other people who can enjoy the journey and they don't need all that, and that's fine. That's their path. But with me and when going back to age, I would say that because you're more of an internal person, that as long as you're sticking with it and you're still deriving happiness from it, then that's all that matters.
do you think our social standing will change as we get older? Like, do you think we'll still keep the same company? Do you think people will dance with you more or less as you get older?
No, actually, I'm honestly, I think you'll probably stay there, but I'll probably get washed out.
Washed out? Why?
Yeah, dude, no, because well, I would say you're a better social person than I am. I might be a social butterfly.
Yeah.
But also, like, I'm a bit of a bull in a china shop too,
True.
Where like I'm a bit clumsy, and I'm not afraid to be socially foolish, and I kind of lean into that. Like, I understand that I'm socially clumsy, and people accept me for what I am, but I think you have more of finesse to that than I do, and I think that when it comes to tango, especially tango friendships, and your social network, I think as you get older, it requires more of a social finesse. Like take someone like Reza, who well respected, definitely older, still dances well. Young spirited person.
Sure.
But he's got a definite social finesse. And that's something that I could probably learn from, but I think as I get older
But I think you'll still have that youthful spirit, and I think that's more important, right? I think as you get older, the reason why people kind of get into this feeling of like, oh, I'm too old now, is because they kind of lose that sense of youthfulness, that youthful spirit, that youthful energy, that willingness to put in whatever.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, so I see what you're getting at, but I also think that because of I also have a bit of weirdness. I might get like shoot to the corner,
What?
No, because I myself, I think I have weird habits. A lot of that coming from being part of like niche subcultures like anime culture and things like that. That some of my weird traits come out and they're like, oh yeah, Rob, that's weird.
That's true.
So sooner or later, people get replaced. That's what it comes back down to. People get replaced one by one. Whether I get phased out or whether like the change of the guards or whether it's just a matter of time. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that's why I'm more focused on goals because that's how I maintain my happiness because if I get phased out, I can still look at back and just go, well, you know what, I still did this and that made me happy.
Yeah.
And I think.
Well, I think tango is so interesting because I think that phasing out period is not for a long, long time, and you see a lot of, older gentlemen there that are still thriving in our current scene as we speak of.
Yeah, there are.
They're not getting phased out.
No, but I do think ladies get phased out really quite a bit.
That is true, right? It doesn't work both ways, right? It's kind of on the unfair, life is unfair kind of thing. It sucks. It's tough.
And then also because I dance a lot with people who are overlooked, that makes me closer to the chopping block than someone who saves themselves for the most popular people or
Why do you think the ladies get unfazed as they get older? Is it just kind of like the preference of most men? Because it's kind of like maybe tango reflects like dating or relationships in a way, where like women like to date older men like to date younger women.
I think that might be part of it, but I also think that there are older ladies that I enjoy dancing with, and I know a lot of people enjoy dancing with, like Annie. Remember Angie? Right? She was older and she
was great. She still is great.
Yeah. And then there are people who are older and like they don't move as well, or they don't have that same energy, or they don't connect as well. And when it comes to like options, of course, you're gonna have to pick the options that satisfy your needs more, whether that be aesthetic needs or your dance needs or the feeling of reciprocation or whatever.
Right.
I think that's why I think ladies suffer more from getting phased out because it's competitive. I'm not talking about competition, but I mean the Malanga field is competitive.
It is.
So, and it's harder because I think to be competitive on that field, either you need to practice a lot, or you need to have a lot of partners. You need to have a strong social network, and just by numbers, how many ladies actually have a partner?
Not a lot.
And I mean, guys could say, "Oh, I don't have a partner either," but the numbers, just by pure numbers' sake, you can still grab somebody and train with. I don't think a lot of ladies have that option, and that's why I always advise any lady. It's like the first thing you need to do is find a partner.
It's hard. It's easy. You're saying it like it's so easy.
No, I'm not trying to belittle the endeavor.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that is a keystone for staying in the game. It's almost I like. Let me think of a good way to put it, and that is like, let's take corporate work for example, right?
Corporate what?
Corporate work, like your job, occupation. If you want to take your job seriously and you want to climb the ranks, a lot of it is about building your relationship with your managers, with his manager.
Sure.
And is it necessarily about skill? Not necessarily. It's about how well.
It's who you know and who you acquaint yourself with.
Yeah, and in a sense that and who do you champion? Because in a sense you're the workhorse. You're the workhorse for your boss, and so in a sense you're like the trusty steed while he rides into battle, right?
Yeah.
So, and in a sense, he gets promoted. If he gets promoted, you get promoted.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it works. So, but he's got like maybe 7 steeds he could ride, right?
Yeah.
But you got to be the one trusty steed.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. It's So if you don't build that relationship and you end up being the donkey and you're not the trusty steed. And then if you're the donkey, you're just carrying the like the pots and pans. He's not riding you into battle. You know? And that's what I mean. And in a sense, that's what that partnership is. It's that keystone that allows you to stay in the game, to be competitive. And again, it's hard, just like it's hard to have that relationship with your boss so that he rides you into battle. But yeah, it's definitely a keystone, and it's that linchpin that you need that really you need to focus on. So.
Yeah, it's not an easy topic to talk about. Whenever you think about age, you kind of think about your own mortality, and it's quite common, and it is a difficult topic to talk about. But yeah, let us know what you think about getting older specifically in tango, and what that experience has been for you. Because not all of you have the same experience as us. I started when I was in my young 20s. Dancing tango. I know that's very fortunate because a lot of people start a lot later, especially here in America.
Yeah, I started at 30. I started at 32.
Yeah, and even still, that's still pretty young considering a lot of. I would say, what would you think your average age that people start with in tango here in America?
I'm gonna say like
mid 40s, late 40s.
I'm gonna say late 30s.
Late 30s.
Like I would say 30, like older than 35.
Really?
Yeah. Because you also factor all the college kids that try tango.
Yeah, but they're the exception to the rule, not the rule.
I know, but if you talk about average.
Ah, true. But they're, yeah, I guess.
Because you have 20-year-olds, you have people start at 20, you have people start at 30, you have people start at 40, 50, 60. I don't see too many people starting tango at 70, but it happens.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I'm thinking, like, in terms of how many people, the bulk of people that I see dancing tango are in their early 40s. So that's why I'm kind of saying, like, okay, well,
it's definitely more challenging to start as you get older, right?
Yeah.
Because you have more of a career that you have to focus on.
Yeah.
Like I was, in grad school when I was starting tango, so.
Well, I already had my career, and so, yeah, it's hard to balance that because tango requires a certain amount of commitment, and if you're committed to other stuff, like if you're in your 30s already, you might not have a family already, and so what's more important, tango or your offspring,
Yeah, and also you're obviously more coordinated. You're probably a little bit more fit as you're younger. Mm-hmm. You're a little bit more springy because you do other things like the gym, and as you get older, maybe you don't do those things anymore.
Oh, definitely.
In terms of your maintenance of your body.
Yeah, or you just, you're stressed out so much, you're just pounding ice cream and pizzas, fast food all the time. It happens.
It does. But yeah, let us know your experience of getting older. We would like to know from where. When did you start tango? Did you start in your early 30s, 20s like myself, older? We would like to know. That would be an interesting discussion in the comments. But yeah, let us know. And thank you all so much again for watching our latest video. And we will catch you on the next one.
Thank you for watching the latest episode of Left Foot, Right Foot. Please click the subscribe button and the notification bell to keep up to date with our latest videos. We greatly appreciate it.
Also, if you can, click the like button. It really helps us with the algorithm. Where our goal is really to make tango, social tango in the community more available to the mass public. And that's pretty much our goal with the whole channel. So if you could click that like button, it really goes a long way. Thank y'all so much. Ever want to meet us live or say hi? We will be at the San Diego Tango Marathon, August 16 through 18, 2024. So if you want to say hi to us or catch us on our live podcast, make sure you are there.